All right, hold the phone. Hold the phone. Hold el teléfono. We got to talk. I have a bone to pick with everyone. Literally everyone. Yes, you. You over there, sit down. I got a bone to pick with you too. Okay. Why do people dislike the Giver movie? Like, I don't understand. First of all, when I went into the theater to see the Giver movie, to be fair, I had such low expectations. For a long time after seeing the Giver movie, I would say that it was my second favorite film adaptation of a book after Holes. So, for my ranking, it was Holes, then the Giver movie, is how much I like the Giver movie. Let me address some of the complaints that I have heard about the Giver movie. Apparently, some people didn't like the fact that they actually did the black and white to color thing. Like, apparently some people wanted it to be a reveal like it was in the book, where it's like, hey, we're a non-visual medium. We're gonna, like, not describe color because he doesn't know color, and then once it gets to the fact that he doesn't know color, everyone's gonna be shocked. And, like, yeah, that's how books work because it's a non-visual medium. That's the only way they could carry out that plot point is as a twist. But for some reason, people wanted them to not use their new form of medium for the adaptation? Because, of course, the trailers didn't have the black and white to color thing. The trailers were just in color. So when I went into the movie, I was worried that they wouldn't do the black and white to color thing. Like, I was worried that they were just going to have it be in color the whole time. Because I thought that would be so boring. Like, movies are in color usually. Sure, that's, like, just the way stuff is. Why would you want to relate less to the character than they ended up making you? Like, because I personally love the fact you get the color slowly, and, you know, they do their visual storytelling through how much color is on the screen at any given time. Like, that was neat and pretty and stuff. And when they actually show the, like, whole sunset scene where Jonas, you know, is seeing red in vivid detail for the first time, it's, like, impactful to the viewer because we haven't been seeing colors this whole time. They can't make us forget what color looks like, obviously, but they do kind of give it to us in such a way that we're like, oh, I can see how that would be impactful to him, kind of are on his journey with him. And I don't understand why people would want to try to recreate the experience of not having a visual medium in a visual medium. Hey, we're going to have a movie now. When you adapt a book to a movie, the benefit is that you get to see visually the things that were being described in the book. There were more changes than that between the book and the movie. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go, like, plot point by plot point, basically to find stuff that I like and stuff that I dislike. So movie opens with the narration of, like, oh, here's how the community works. And I was fine with that because it, you know, saves time. Honestly, it just saves time. Next thing you see is Jonas looking at the trees. The trees are in color. And then, like, that's him seeing beyond. The problem with that is that his colors, the color that he saw first was red, and that's included in the movie, as he says that the first color he saw was red, so I'm not sure why they put the tree is green, so I'm not sure why they included that. But whatevs, cool, sure, riding bikes, seeing trees are color, fine. Fiona joins him, and Asher joins him, and Fiona's like, I apologize, we're late.
Apologize, we're late. I got Asher to come say goodbye to teacher.
And he's like, I accept your apology. And that was the moment in the theater where I was like, yes, they're doing the thing. Because I was also worried they wouldn't do the I apologize, I accept your apology thing, but they did, and I liked it. More narration after that. That was pretty, like, they didn't do narration too much in the movie, but they did a lot of it. And, like, if you don't like narration, that's probably an issue. I can understand thinking that narration is a lazy storytelling device, but I mean, I didn't really need the movie to be a masterpiece. I just needed it to be an adaptation of the story, and it was, so I liked it. Obviously, they aged up the characters, by the way, but I mean, everyone's aging up characters. I don't think we're ever going to really see a 12-year-old Percy Jackson. What am I doing? Leave stuff alone. After that, they do the weird walk through the water in the triangle thing. Not sure why that was an element of this, but it was, and it wasn't intrusive or anything, so sure. By the way, we're introduced to, like, the speaker systems that are levitating everywhere.
Citizens are reminded that evening recreation will end.
And I love the speaker system as a concept just because it's so passive-aggressive. Like, when later on in the movie when Jonas slides down the thing, which he totally would not have done in the book, when he slides down the thing with Fiona, instead of, like, getting swarmed by police as he would in, like, most dystopian movies, they just had the speaker system go, like, citizens are reminded that you are not to touch other people, and it's just like, or people who aren't in your family unit, and it's just like, wow, you guys are so passive aggressive. I love it. I love it when they show how the community differs from other communities in dystopian YA. Or I guess, does it count as YA? Because like everyone read it in elementary school. Like everyone read The Giver in elementary school, so far as I'm aware. So I guess dystopian middle grade fiction. With baby killing. Anyway. So, yada yada, home with family. They have their talk about feelings. I like that they kept that too. Like, the mother talks about how she feels disappointed about having to persecute Lily's teacher or something like that. And Lily talks about, whatever. Basically, they talk about feelings. They kept the precision of language thing because in that conversation, Jonas is like, I feel pretty terrified. And then the mom's like, precision of language!
I guess I'm sort of terrified.
Precision of language.
And then Jonas goes, oh yeah, I feel nervous. It's like, that is more precise. You really you hit the nail on the head there. I love that they kept the main stuff from the book, which is like precision of language, I apologize, I accept your apology, etc. Next scene, they do the ceremony where like, get rid of the elders.
Harmony of our beloved community and are now ready for joyous retirement to elsewhere.
Move the babies into some families. And they even included Caleb because, like, in the books it was a thing where it's like, oh, this boy named Caleb died and that was crazy. So now this family's getting a new baby and they're naming it Caleb too. And, like, the movie didn't actually, like, show all of this, but they did have a kid named Caleb in there. And I was like, hey, it's Caleb! It's like, that's exciting. That's neat. If I'm being loud, it's because I have the house to myself, so I can just yell about The Giver if I want to. Also in this scene, apparently, like, we're introduced to the fact that they don't clap, like, clapping. They clap by patting their legs. And that's great. Like, I love that as a concept, and I'm pretty sure that became, like, a meme in my family for a period of time where instead of applauding for stuff regularly, we would pat our legs. And of course, you know, like in the book, there's the ceremony, and Jonas doesn't get called on, and he's like, what's happening? Oh my gosh. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, what's happening?
Ayanda, recreation leader, thank you for your time. Number 54, Kathy.
They skipped Jonas.
Thank you for your time. Number 78,
because if you don't get called on, it's probably because you did something wrong. But then afterwards, Meryl Streep, who wasn't Meryl Streep in the book, obviously. Meryl Streep, who basically she's an elder, and her role is super inflated from in the books, because in the books, the elders weren't much of a thing. Like, they were a thing, but they weren't, like, much of an entity. For real, but they got Meryl Streep for the part, so they're like, yeah, you're gonna be important. Also, this is a dystopian movie, and people are used to dystopian movies having bad guys, so you're gonna be the bad guy. Sure. Then, basically, Meryl Streep comes up, and she's like, hey, sorry for scaring the crap out of you. Sorry for scaring the crap out of you guys. Really, you've been chosen for this super honor of being the receiver of memory. And it's like, wow, you could have told me that in the middle of the ceremony, but thank you. Or I guess they couldn't have, because they did the whole, Jonas, Jonas, Jonas. Because apparently they chant via whisper, which is not creepy. Jonas. And basically, the movie incorporates a bunch of elements that weren't actually a part of the book, but that fit in fine. Like, the daily injections weren't a thing in the books, where, like, you put your wrist on a little button, and the button pricks you, and then you live your life in black and white. The book didn't have that. The only real medication they had in the book was like one for the stirrings, which is when like you start getting sexy dreams about people, and your parents are like, "Oh, you got the stirrings. Here, take some pills." And also in the books there were like just pain medications, where like it was described that Jonas at some point in his life slammed his finger in a door, and like immediately there was pain medication because no one is allowed to suffer at all for even a second in this universe. Calm down, guys. Although to be fair, I got my finger slightly shut in a car door a few weeks ago, and that wasn't fun. So, I mean, I can dig it. But yeah, the movie has morning injections, which, I mean, doesn't super matter. It matters to the plot of the movie, but that's just like a convenient way to show how in the society people are at any given time. Basically, Jonas had to cheat the system in some tangible way, and the getting rid of the morning injections by putting his blood on an apple or whatever. Like, that was the way they chose. It wasn't super necessary, but they did it, and it was fine. Like, it wasn't burdensome to the plot. Anyway, after the scene where it's like, you're the receiver of memory, Jonas, Jonas, Jonas. After that, they're going home. Lily got her bike, which in the book she was a year away from the bike, but they decided to cut out the middleman, just be like, yeah, she's getting her bike now. So Lily gets her bike, and Mom's teaching her how to ride it on the way home, and Lily's like, is Jonas now more powerful than you?
Is Jonas now more powerful than you? Shh.
and me in the theater goes, hey, I thought you guys didn't have like a concept of power and stuff.
We started over, creating a new society, one of true equality. There was no popular, no fame, no losers, and no winners.
But like it's like, but they in the books themselves, they pretty much said that wasn't really the case. Like, first of all, birth mothers, the mom in the book said how the birth mother is like such a dishonorable field because you don't actually do anything. You just like give birth to a few kids for a few years and then you're in hard labor for the rest of your life. And it's like, oh well, crud. But I guess you don't want too many kids from the same mother because then you get into some incest stuff and like, well, actually, no, you don't. You don't get into incest stuff because they're only those people are having babies. Whatever, it's fine. It's fine. This is a non-scripted, this is a non-scripted walkthrough, so if I'm being stupid about something, I don't care because it's non-scripted. Maybe one day I'm going to start scripting these, but today is not that day. That day is not yet upon us. I have not encountered that day as yet in my life. It is hitherto undreamt of. Anyway, if you got that reference, leave a note in the comments. So yeah, they go home. By the way, there was a hint dropped where it's like, oh yeah, the last one maybe died or something. And we find out later that the last one was Taylor Swift, aka Rosemary, and she played the piano, and I don't know why it was Taylor Swift, like, because in the movie theater when I saw it, I was like, I know who that is, but I forgot, and like then in the credits it was like, that's Taylor Swift, and I was like, oh, I don't know why I was so thrown off there. It can't have been the hair, can it? Like, I'm not. Now I understand the people who didn't know that Miley Stewart was Hannah Montana. So yeah, Jonas gets his rules, and it's like, hey, if you're gonna be the receiver, you can't tell people about being the receiver, or you can't tell people about the stuff you learn while you're here. Also, you can lie now. And he's like, whoa, I can lie? What the heck? And then he goes to meet Jeff Bridges, who is the giver, and like, you know, they have their mentor-trainee talk where it's like, don't apologize to me, we haven't the time.
Don't apologize to me, we haven't the time.
And it's like, ooh, that's a change from what he's used to. Then he has his first memory, which is the sled, same as the books, great, groovy, copacetic, gravy. I might not have needed that many adjectives there. So yeah, yada yada. Story continues. Jonas is learning stuff. Also, he's talking to Fiona and Asher, who he hangs around with much more than he did in the book. Like, they changed Asher's job and role, and they changed Fiona's job and role to make them more integral to the plot line. Whereas in the book, it was more of like he was leaving his childhood behind by leaving them behind, because like they were still in their naivete. But in the movie, they kind of mature with him in a way, because he induces Fiona to also reject the society they're in, and Asher ends up a military guy, which super goes against how the community worked in the books. Because that's one thing I didn't like about the movie. The change from making Asher, like, because in the book, Asher's just like, you know, the guy who coordinates playtime. When the kids are going to play a game, he decides what that game's going to be, pretty much. In the movie, it's like he's a drone pilot. Sometimes the people who need discipline the most should be the practitioners of it. In the book, it makes sense that he's given that job because he's a playful guy. It's like, hey, let's put the playful guy in charge of playtime because that's what we do. We're not here for abstract kinds of reform. We're just going to use people for what they're for. So if you're good at this, we're going to make you do this. We're not going to try to do weird psychological stuff to change who you are. Anyway, he tries to keep them in on the stuff he learned, which also didn't really happen in the book. Like, in the book, it was more he would find out about something that Asher did and get offended by it, and Asher would be like, what's going on with him? I'm mainly talking about one scene, which is the scene in the book where Asher organized a game of war to be played, and Jonas has just gotten the memory of what war was like, and he's like, man, you don't understand, war was terrible. And Asher's like, okay, I'm sorry. And Jonas is like, no, seriously, you don't understand. He's like, I said I'm sorry! And Jonas is like, oh yeah, I accept your apology, I forgot I was supposed to do that. And, you know, that was a thing that happened, whatever. They kind of alluded to this scene in the movie, but they didn't actually have that dialogue take place. Anyway, the music scene happens where it's like da 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 da, which I learned how to play on piano. 1 second. Is it plugged in? No, it's not. 1 second. I am plugging this thing in because I am showing the viewing audience how I can play this song. Wait, turn on. Okay. Volume. Oh. That was the... Okay, I'm on a different thing. Nope. Let's go to Music Box. Yeah. Okay, fine. But I kind of know it on piano. Basically, the giver is like, you've learned about seeing beyond, but there's such a thing as hearing beyond, and that was music, and it was cool. I love the scene with the piano because I like that he walks in and he goes, a table? But all the food would fall to the floor. Like, that was adorable. And there was like a Taylor Swift hologram scene where it's like, watch how my fingers move. Watch how my fingers move. And I used to listen, like, as soon as I left the movie theater, I looked up that song and it became like the song that I listened to in my downtime, just like, let's listen to that, that's chill. And at any given time, if there's a piano in front of me, I'll probably start playing that, or like Amazing Grace, or the stuff that I learned in my elementary piano classes. So yeah, that takes place. Moving forward, Jonas, gets color back slowly, and he realizes that Elsewhere isn't so far. Also, he finds out that Elsewhere, like released Elsewhere, is just killing. They just kill the babies, they kill the old people, they're just killing everyone in that. You see, I don't curse, so I'm not sure how I was going to end that sentence. They're just killing everyone in that his house. Sure. Anyway, Fiona is all spunky and like, hey, Jonas, what's up? What's different about you? What's going on? And Jonas is like, hey, I'm angsty now, and I want you to stop taking your medicine. And she's like, what? I can't do that. And he's like, yeah, you can. And she's like, okay. And she does. And then, like, a few days later, he shows up to the weird waterfall triangle thing. He goes in there, and she's like, why did I listen to you? Now I'm all angsty, too. And he's like, let's kiss. And she's like, yeah. And then the elders are watching on their cameras because they're pervs. And the elders are like, what are they doing? Because everybody's a virgin in this town. Look at me, I'm Sandra D, lousy with virginity. So that was a worthwhile detour. Fiona's getting more in the know. Asher's like kind of alienated because he's like, what's going on with them? I'm getting more disciplined because I'm the drone captain now instead of in the books where I'd had a career that made sense for who I was. But the movie decided they're gonna like do weird psychological stuff to change who he is. But mainly the purpose of that was so that he could be integral to the later on scene where Jonas is running away, and then it's like, oh my gosh, is Asher gonna betray Jonas? Ooh, he betrayed Jonas, but he also didn't betray Jonas. And like that was, sure, it wasn't it wasn't too much of a load to me. It was just like kind of whatever. Also, Jonas is kind of breaking the rules all over the place because he also starts, singing and dancing with Lily, and Lily's like, what is this? Jonas says it's called dancing. And okay, hold on. Are we all in agreement that she definitely did not say that line at that time? Because, like, I'm pretty sure she didn't move her mouth at all on that line.
Jonas says it's called dancing. Jonas says it's called dancing.
She's like, Jonas says it's called dancing. And, like, I feel like that must have been a voiceover. I mean, leave your opinion in the comments. Katie Holmes is getting suspicious. Lily is, finding out that the elephant, or the hippo is an elephant because that's her comfort object.
Lily, give me a comfort object. Look at this.
Bye, baby.
This is a mythical creature called a hippo.
Love that they carried that over into the movie, too. By the way, there's a baby named Gabriel. He was, underweight, so they're probably gonna kill him. And Jonas is like, no, screw that.
Lily was telling us how she...
Where's Gabe?
Uncertain was returned to the nurturing center.
What happened?
Well, he failed his test of maturity. Again. I couldn't ask for another extension, so I'll have to release him to Elsewhere.
But he's family.
Precision of language, please.
So he kidnaps the baby and starts to run away because if he runs past the triangle of rocks on the other side of Elsewhere, then the memories are going to be returned to the people for some reason because rocks and stuff. And the giver's like, yes, you must go. And Jonas, steals a motorcycle and drives with a baby to Elsewhere because that's going to work. The drones follow him because they care. Meryl Streep says to Asher, like, I want you to find Jonas and then I want you to lose him. And, like, she, like, dropped a hair or something off a desk because that symbolizes killing, I guess. But there's no way that anyone in the community would understand what that meant. The whole point of the whole precision of language and released elsewhere euphemism thing is that no one guesses anything in the community. Everything is super literal. So there's no situation where Meryl Streep would be like, I want you to find him, and then I want you to lose him. And Asher would be like, I understand. You want me to kill my friend. I get it. I'm gonna do that. Like, no, he'd just be like, wait, what? You want me to... I'd appreciate some precision of language. You want me to find him and then lose him? So you want me to, like, go up to him and then leave? Is that what you want me to do? Is that my understanding of what's taking place? And she'll be like, no, I'd like you to kill him. I'd like you to break his neck and or any vital organ that will cause him to experience death. I would like you to discontinue him. It's like, thank you. That's words that I can, kind of understand. Or maybe that was a part of the code for his, training, where it's like, oh, if you lose someone, that means drop them off a friggin' cliff. I've been saying friggin' and screw. I'm very sorry. I'm not supposed to use euphemisms of that nature. From this point on, Gabe is the most, Gabe is the baby's name. Gabe is the most resilient baby ever to have lived, because he's, braving being dropped off a cliff into a waterfall. He's braving, a snowy tundra, an arid desert. He's just, put in so many dangerous situations with no nutrition, and Jonas is just there and the baby's there well, whatever, I guess this is my life now. And then finally Jonas stumbles upon the sled, which also wasn't explained in the book, and I'm sure it's symbolic or something, but I want it to make sense. But yeah, he stumbles upon the sled, sleds downhill into the house of people singing. Again, sure, it's symbolic, and the memories return to the people of the community. And the dad's like, whoa, I've been killing babies. And the mom's like, whoa, I've been killing people by persecuting them. And Meryl Streep is like, whoa, everything sucks. And the girlfriend's like, whoa, I was almost killed, but I survived by this much, because movie drama. And, it's all copacetic. But that's about it. The movie, adds in more action than was in the book, but that's kind of just how movies work. You can't just, I'm pretty sure if they ever tried to make a movie of Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man, they would have to add in some stuff, because the book just consists of Stephen going places and learning things, and that's just Stephen went to this school and then he learned something. He probably wet himself. In order for a movie to work, you have to do something with the book. They made it fit a certain plot structure. They added they incorporated stuff for the visual medium, but I didn't consider any of those changes so consequential as to warrant actual dislike for the film. They keep the heart of the community in the story still. They kept Lily relevant, they kept the parents relevant, they showed the reaction of the community members to having the memories come back. It was just it was good storytelling, and I don't see what the problem was. The end, I guess.